Hello, I'm Mark Ells, Barnstable Town Manager, and this is my Town Manager update for the period of April 15th through April 29th. The Town Council has commenced public hearings for the recommended FY 2026 capital budget and continues we continue with the preparation of the operating budget for FY 2026. And we're on schedule with our budget action calendar. Town Council approved a significant number of the recommended FY 2026 capital budget items at their last meeting, and the remaining recommended projects will be considered for approval on May 1st. The fiscal year 2026 capital improvement plan is available on the town's website at the link provided in this communication, and printed copies have also been provided to the town council. The school committee met on April 2nd to review and approve the FY 2026 school operating budget. So you can also access that information. Now, what happens with the school is that the school committee approves it, and then that approved budget by the school committee comes to the town manager, who includes it in the proposed operating budget for town council consideration. And those hearings relevant to the operating budget will be coming up in the month of June. And for all information, please visit our website on the town webpage. The Cape Cod and Islands Wastewater Trust Fund Board met today, April 29th, with a primary focus on the Massachusetts Department of Environmental Protection Agency's release of the final 2025 intended use plan, detailing the projects, the borrowers, the financing amount that will be offered through the Clean Water and Drinking Water State Revolving Fund loan programs for this year's financing cycle. And I've given you a link if you want to go on to mass.gov and take a look at what's in those plans. As previously stated, the final 2025 IUP did not substantially change from previous years, resulting in DEP committing to fund Barnstable's listed projects in carryover projects, and including additional projects that were identified for the 2025 period, and you can take a look at what those are. This funding commitment keeps those projects eligible for principal subsidy from the Cape and Islands Wastewater Trust Fund. Mass DEP continues to identify funding concerns and flagged limited additional funds to address increased costs as we move forward with this funding source. Barnstable continues to offer to actively participate in discussions with Mass DEP regarding the strategies to maintain the state revolving fund as a financially viable resource in the future. The Cape Cod and Islands Wastewater Trust Fund Board also voted to approve the principal subsidies for eligible projects listed in the final 2025 IUP, includes Barnstable's projects, and to send a letter to Governor Healy requesting that the proposed environmental bond bill that's upcoming later this, maybe by summer, but certainly a little bit later this year, will include $500 million to further capitalize the Clean Water State Revolving Fund. This will be critical to funding wastewater projects in the future, and I'll keep the town council and the public advised as this progresses. Finance Director Mark Milne and Treasurer Tax Collector Sean O'Brien met with credit analysts from Standard & Poor's to discuss the town's upcoming general obligation bond issue in May. The town plans to competitively bid $5.6 million of bonds for 8 capital projects. Every bond issue must have a credit rating associated with it. At the beginning of the meeting, the analyst commented that they look forward to meeting with Barnstable every year, using this community as a gauge when meeting with other communities and issuers, particularly when it comes to financial planning. This year, they're particularly interested in hearing how communities are planning, if at all, regarding what's happening at the federal level of government and how communities are preparing themselves for any potential impacts at the local level. We shared within the town's recently modified approach toward capital planning and appropriations, including the withdrawal of several items, bidding on certain projects with ad alternate options to stay within budget, and having additional funds set aside in the event a supplemental appropriation was necessary for a project that is considered important to move forward. We also shared that the town continues to incorporate conservative revenue forecasting for the general fund to guard against any revenue contraction that may occur to avoid a revenue deficit. They commented that examples like these are prudent financial planning that they would like to see more communities follow this type of approach. Even though Barnstable has had a consistent history of strong financial performance, financial planning is just as important, even if not more important, and they were impressed by Barnstable's planning effort. Good job, Finance Department. On April 23rd, 2025, Barnstable received a letter from Lieutenant Governor Kim Driscoll congratulating Barnstable on having completed our Cybersecurity Incident Management Plan, resulting from Barnstable's third Community Compact Best Practices Grant. The Community Compact program aims to enhance community commitment to providing better government for its residents, primarily focused on delivering more efficient, professional, and responsive municipal services. Thank you, Jim Benoit, Director of Information Systems, and our IT staff for preparing the plan. Work will be done this week on the wind farm cable chamber located in the parking lot at Colville's Beach. Vineyard Wind One Communications staff have informed the town that they will be making some minor modifications and upgrades in the underground cable chamber. Just in case you see any trucks down at Colville's Beach, they've been there since Monday. In order to do this work, they've begun removing the accumulated water in the chamber. The project that will be completed by the week of May 5th. This project will be completed by the week of May 5th. Vineyard Wind Communications people have been proactive in informing the town of this work and work like this to minimize the impact of the use of that parking lot. This May, we celebrate 20 years since the town of Barnstable acquired what was known as the Hyannis Water System. The town purchased all of the assets of a private company, the Barnstable Water Company, including 12 wells, 100 miles of pipe, and almost 7,500 customers from this private company. In the subsequent 2 decades, the Department of Public Works and its Water Supply Division have focused on hiring a third party. We did contracted services for the operation of the system. We faced many issues, including the most recent that you hear about PFAS, but we've immediately addressed those, certainly compliant with regulation, with installation of active carbon filtration. We've built a world-class Mahar water treatment plant within our system. We've replaced 18 miles of pipe, replaced approximately 200 fire hydrants, pumped on average 900 million gallons of water each year, and received state and water industry awards dealing with our water system operations and maintenance improvements and PFAS response actions. I will note, if I jump back to some of the challenges that we face, the town of Barnstable purchased the private water company because the private sector had run it to the end of its useful life, and there were both quality issues in the system, and the system, again, was at the end of its useful life. Hydrants wouldn't open, so we stepped in 2005. We've run this, we've invested significantly in it, and at this point, we have certainly award-winning water system in Hyannis. So if you have any questions about this or you hear otherwise, we're always available to talk with you more about providing accurate information on what's going on in our water system in Hyannis. And as we look to the future, certainly this Hyannis water supply continues to support the growing economic center of our town and the Cape, with many programs like our continued pipe replacement program, our pump station improvement program, and additional new water treatment plants. All 12 wells now have those treatment processes in place. And we're looking to the future of what might occur relevant to additional regulations as we become more and more knowledgeable on our very sensitive water resources here on Cape Cod. And we'll keep you advised as we continue to progress with managing that water system. That concludes my portion of the presentation. Next, Kate Maldonado, our senior planner with our Planning and Development Department, will provide updates on the local comprehensive plan, housing production plan, and community development block grants, followed by the assistant town manager, Andy Clyburn, providing an update on the quality of life working group that is focused on enforcement matters across all town departments. Thank you.
Hello, Kate Maldonado, Senior Planner, Planning and Development. The town of Barnstable is currently working to update the town's local comprehensive plan, which is a long-term growth and vision policy that will guide Barnstable's future over the next 10 years. A full draft of the local comprehensive plan is available for review and comment. The draft plan is accessible from the project website, barnstablelcp.com, via the document library page. Hard copies of the draft plan are also available at each of the town's libraries and the Barnstable Adult Community Center. The public comment period is open through Sunday, May 11th. Comments can be submitted online via the project website or dropped off or mailed to Planning and Development here at 367 Main Street, Hyannis at Town Hall. The comments will be distributed to the local comprehensive planning committee for review and consideration. Town staff, together with members of the local comprehensive planning committee, invite the public to attend one of the upcoming community meetings. Each meeting will include an overview of the draft local comprehensive plan, followed by an open house. Light refreshments will be provided. The next meeting will be held this Wednesday, April 30th at 6 p.m. at Liberty Hall, followed by Monday, May 5th at 6 p.m. at the Osterville Library. Virtual participation will be provided for that meeting in Osterville. The final townwide community meeting will be held at the Barnstable High School within the Performing Arts Center. Live Portuguese and Spanish interpretation will be available. Additionally, in partnership with Barnstable Recreation, childcare services will be provided for children ages kindergarten through 5th grade, including pizza and arts and crafts. If you're interested, please email myself at caitlin.maldonado@town.barnstable.ma.us to register for childcare. And that final meeting will be held Thursday, May 8th at 6 p.m. again at the Barnstable High School. The town of Barnstable is in the process of updating its housing production plan. A housing production plan establishes a strategic plan for the production of affordable housing in a community that is based on a comprehensive needs assessment. A draft housing production plan has been published and can be accessed from the town's website via the Planning and Development Department website under Current Projects. Public feedback is encouraged by submitting comments through the town's Housing Production Plan webpage or by emailing Jim Kupfer at james.kupfer@town.barnstable.ma.us before Thursday, May 1st. The Town of Barnstable's draft 5-year consolidated plan for the Community Development Block Grant Program, also referred to as CDBG, is available for review on the town's website via the Planning and Development Department webpage under Programs. The consolidated plan covers the period beginning July 1st, 2025 through June 30th, 2030, and includes the one-year annual action plan for program year 2025. The plan serves as the planning and strategic documents for the town's CDBG program, which is funded by the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, also known as HUD. The purpose of CDBG program is to provide housing, economic opportunities, and a suitable living environment for low and moderate income persons. The public comment period is open through Monday, May 5th.
Hello, I'm Assistant Town Manager Andy Clyburn, here to give an update on the internal working group established to look at enforcement efforts across all town departments. Our team listed here each has their own set of responsibilities and associated authorities. It consists of myself, Peter Burke, the Hyannis Fire Chief, Jeannie Chalice, our Police Chief, Brian Florence, Building Commissioner, Lynn Poyant, Director of Communications, David Anthony, Director of Asset Management, Jim Kupfer, Director of Planning and Development, Karen Nober, Town Attorney, Allison Cagliano, Assistant Town Attorney, Derek Lawson, Director of Marine and Environmental Affairs, Alicia Messier, GIS Manager, Aaron Logan, Director of Licensing, and Peter Bertling, Parking Program Manager. Not every department is represented. Others will be added as necessary moving forward. For today's update, I'm going to walk through a timeline with quarterly goals listed below the timeline and associated milestones shown above. First, you'll notice the title, Quality of Life. As we began meeting in January, it quickly became evident to our group that we were working on quality of life issues, so that's the name we landed on. Our goals for the first quarter were to establish a team with regular recurring meetings, identify problem areas, implement immediate solutions where possible, apply structure on how to tackle larger issues, and assign leads to each. Our first milestone was completed in January as we began our regular meetings. Our second milestone was started in February when we released a video explaining how to communicate with the town of Barnstable. Communications was quickly identified as a concern, and this video was the first immediate action we undertook. With complaint-based enforcement, it is imperative residents know where to go. There will be several follow-on actions in this category, including adjustments to the town website to enhance residents' understanding. Our third milestone structured our work into three areas: processes, systems, and laws. Processes and systems are the tools town staff use to enforce the laws. The line you've seen drawn between processes and systems and laws is there to highlight the line of authority between town manager and town council. This is clearly oversimplistic, as some of what we refer to as laws in this structure are regulation or ordinances, general or zoning. Some of those are under the town manager and some of them are under higher authorities other than town council. But for illustrative purposes, it gives you an idea of the items our group will take action on in short order, those being systems and processes, and those items that our group will review and make suggestions on, but will require more public process and action by others, whether that be town council, planning board, or others. Our goals for the second quarter include drafting potential regulations, ordinances, or changes to existing laws for consideration to address gaps or shortfalls often blamed on lack of enforcement and public process required for each. Evaluation of current systems, including OpenGov, Granicus, and others. The lack of a forward-facing complaint system is likely the current root cause for much frustration. We have seen tremendously positive response to our efforts with OpenGov in use for permitting and are very optimistic it will be helpful on the complaint front as well. Lastly, we hope to hold a town council workshop on the use of town property and permitted events held throughout town. There's been a significant increase in the number and size of events in recent years worthy of a town council discussion. Milestones we hope to achieve include categories parking, home occupation, and budget. One of the first issues our team reviewed was the waste to water parking regulations. The team tasked several members to review complaints received and administrative concerns, existing and proposed amendments to existing town manager regulations. As a town manager regulation, these proposed amendments will be submitted to the manager for review and approval. We anticipate a public communications plan established and public comment period put forth to garner input for our residents prior to the manager moving forward with any amendment considered. The team is actively working on several other issues that may result in ordinance amendment, whether general or zoning. These amendments would require extended public outreach and public hearings. As proposed amendments are considered, a public outreach and communication process and plan will go along with it. While we begin efforts on these potential changes, we also want to ensure that we're enforcing existing laws and providing proper communications. And in some areas, we may find changes are not necessary, we simply need stricter enforcement. Home occupation. We've heard concerns about home occupations that disrupt residential neighborhoods. Our first step will be to establish a home occupation licensing program with ID card, annual expiration and renewal, with a suspension and revocation hearing process. And finally, budget. We will bring forward budget requests for systems and equipment as necessary. Our Q3 goals include organizational changes to the Inspectional Services Department to support enforcement. This will include changes to the town code and long overdue fee schedule adjustments and public hearings to support the necessary resources. Our Q3 milestones include the next step on home occupation, with changes to the home occupation ordinance being brought forward and commercial vehicle regulations. The public process for the aforementioned organizational changes to the Inspectional Services Department, potential changes to our noise ordinance, and potentially a new nuisance ordinance, depending on the effectiveness of the other home occupancy efforts. Our Q4 goals and milestones we further developed in the coming months, but include finalizing new regulations and ordinances, public discussion, and prioritization of future tasks, including regulatory agreement enforcement, amongst others. That concludes today's update. Thank you.
Have a question, concern, complaint, comment, or kudos? Don't know where to start or who to contact? Town of Barnstable residents have multiple ways to communicate with the town, including email, phone, and via our app. Email the town main mailbox at email@town.barnstable.ma.us. Emails are directed to the appropriate department in a timely manner, usually within 24 hours of receipt. We also have a citizen resource line that you can access by phone at 508-862-4925. The line is answered during regular work hours with the option to leave a message outside of normal hours, 8:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Monday through Friday. The rental compliance hotline is answered 24/7. Call 508-504-9779. You can also find this information on the town's website, www.townofbarnstable.us, through the quick links and citizen resources sections. We've even got an app for that. You can report a problem directly on the town's mobile app, the My Barnstable app. Don't have the app? You can download it for free through the App Store or Google Play Store. If you have complaints for inspectional services, which includes the Building Division, the Health Division, and Weights and Measures, please contact Building Division by telephone at 508-862-4038 or email to Building Division mailbox at town.barnstable.ma.us. Health Division by telephone at 508-862-4644 or email to health@town.barnstable.ma.us. Weights and Measures at 508-862-4671 or email to weight_measure at town.barnstable.ma.us. Complaints submitted to these agencies directly will ensure that an inspector is assigned and dispatched. timing of the response is based on the severity of the situation. Threats to life or property are first priority, code violations are a second priority, and referrals to other agencies being third. We look forward to hearing from you.